it's live.
Woo!
Welcome to another episode of the Linepull Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie. I'm joined by my co-host, Justin, down here at the bottom. Got Kariahna up here in the green room.
Hello.
How y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Another day, another dollar.
You got paid today?
Cool. So anyway, let's move on to our topic of the day. We're gonna get into this a little differently because we're kind of throwing this together. Not gonna lie. Our topic is safety. As you saw in the little title, it's safety third because that's how I feel about it. I got EMS and fire here with me to tell me how I'm wrong.
Yep. Hold on. Let me put my right hat on because when you don't do things safely, you see me show up to your front doorstep. Don't do stupid things, kids. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
That's true. That's true.
Dogtown, USA.
What do you think about it, Kariahna? Safety first or safety third?
Well, I am an OSHA 30, MSHA, all the SHAs kind of gal. So I'm more of a safety first. I don't care about your production kind of ma'am.
I like it. You're the first person to say no, which is also me. I agree safety third when I'm trying to get something done, but I'm also the first person to say no.
Right.
Because I just don't want to do it. Anyway, before we get into that main topic, now that we gave him a little teaser, Justin, bring me into the news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as everyone knows, it's unfortunately 2022, and we have just been plagued the last couple of years with supply chain shortages, and you name it, we've had problems. Well, an article just came out the other day that the Class 1 railroads are all at their wits' end and are fixing to strike. And a strike of this magnitude that they're looking at hasn't happened since 1991. And their biggest gripe is because what we've talked about in the past, not enough manpower, not enough people, and pushing of timetables. You know, a lot of them haven't seen a raise in years, and the unions are all kind of at their wits' end and pushing for better scheduling and everything else. A lot of these companies are kind of locked head-to-head with the unions, and we're looking at right now in the article that I read, within the next 30 to 60 days, if a decision isn't come to between congressional recommendations and the unions and the companies, they're looking at 30 days to make a decision. If they don't come to a decision within the next 30 days, they'll have 30 days before they call it a cool down period. And then after that, we could see a strike. We could see lockdown, companies locking out and picket lines. And where it all kind of boils down into this topic is one of the big gripes is safety. And a lot of them they're pushing the DOT because railroads fall under the same as DOT regulations where, hey, you're on for 14 hours. You have to have a 10-hour reset. After 70 hours of work week, you have to have a 34-hour reset. And it ties in with safety because a lot of them are pushing it right to the edge with the railroads because they just don't have anybody. And what I wanted to kind of tie in with that article with safety was, what's your guys' opinion on like the DOT regulations? Do you think that 70 hours is too much, too little? Do you think we should have a longer DOT break with it? Or what do you guys feel along those lines? Because I have to follow my company DOT regulations. 70 hours, shut her down, boys, we're done. We don't care if there's another move to go. But what's your guys' thoughts?
Personally, I've never been on a job where I fall under DOT, but for the most part, like I was with one company and they were like, you work as long as you want. And then when you're done, you tell the crew that you're done. And I was like, well, I feel like give me a boundary, because if they know that we can just keep going, like you're getting that pressure from the job and from the site and everything to keep going. So even though I'm tired, I'm ready for bed, I'm starting to get groggy, there's still that pressure from the contractor that you're working with to keep going. And personally, I don't do that. I don't touch caffeine, none of that. So like when I'm ready and I'm good and I'm tired, that's it. I'm tired. I don't like to go past what I know I'm capable of, because that is when mistakes start getting made. It's not, I mean, sure, you get the first you get the first bit of the day that, you know, you're tired, and then the accidents start happening again towards the end of the day or after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
It's not morning. You know what I mean?
Right. And that brings up a thought of a job site I was on a few years back, where when you pulled into the job site, you were only allowed to back your car in, because in the evening you were exhausted and you weren't checking your mirrors backing out of your spot. So they wanted you to back it in the morning. It was the stupidest little rule, but it made sense. Now, as far as my opinion on the railroad having to follow the DOT rules, and I think the DOT rules need to be set at age limits. I'm not saying that the younger generation is better at staying awake for longer hours versus the older generation. I just think there needs to be age gaps for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand that argument. Well, the younger guys are going to get paid more now because they can go 17 hours where I can only go 15 hours.
Right.
So I understand that keeping the playing field even, and you don't have to tell somebody, hey, you turned 30 this year and you can only run 12 hours.
Right.
I get that too. So honestly, I realistically, I think DOT rules are pretty good where they are, but there needs to be a little more leniency with them, kind of thing.
See, I have a comment on your age thing. I think like the intro people, like the 18 to 25, 27, you know, I fall in that age gap. I know that I don't completely know my limits yet. I don't think that I could comfortably stay up and continue to stay up. Once I'm tired, like I haven't ever had the situation where I'm like, oh, I need to push past this. I mean, sure, there's been days, but you know, for the most part, then you get to those 25 to 35 year olds. Right. These 25 to 35 year olds that are tenured and they know what's going on and they know their body. You know, I think they have a better grip of what's going on, because us younger folks, we're here trying to prove ourselves. We're trying to push ourselves. We're going to do anything if we're given the opportunity.
And I think that should be another aspect looked into, you know, almost a probationary period. But right. I don't want to say that either, you know, wait until you fuck up and then you can't do it no more, because that's not good for anybody.
No.
But it's almost like a learner's permit.
Right.
You know, the 18 to 25, you get limited hours until you've learned the field kind of thing, and you understand yourself. And then 25 to 30, you get, you know, 18 hours or whatever you want on the
right.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right, exactly. The 18 to 25, definitely a probationary period. No, you're not doing the 20-hour day.
Right, because
you don't know how to do the 20-hour day.
They just think that drinking an energy drink is sufficient, when all caffeine does is tell your brain that you're not tired. It doesn't take away that you actually are tired.
Red Bull doesn't work.
No.
I enjoy my Red Bull. It's my first kick in the ass in the morning, but it's not real. No. I know it's not real.
Well, I'll say from both perspectives, working from a company that requires the 70 hours versus one that isn't, and then working in the oil field where I can tell you untoldly amount of stories that you got kind of ironically into safety. How safe is it for you to be up and working for 36 hours straight? And in that 36 hours, you might have gotten 4 or 5 hours with 30-minute cat naps throughout the day. You know, how safe is that? You know, young and dumb 19-year-old Justin didn't care. He was a little rigger that just didn't care. He was just, let's go, let's get it. Man, I could use another energy drink or another cigarette or chew or whatever I needed to keep going. And then at the end of the 36 hours, we got back to the yard, and I'm just like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Why?
Ready to fall out.
Throwing the ball, and you do fall out. Like I literally pulled into the shop, parked the company truck, crawled into my truck, and went, yeah, no, this ain't happening. I can't drive an hour home. And I passed out in the driver's seat and slept at the yard for about 6-7 hours, and woke up in the middle of the night going, where am I? Like, my body just did not know what to do with it.
And you got that full bottle tingle.
Oh, yeah. And now working, I will say it's a benefit. It's a double-edged sword, because there's some times where you know how it is. You're just in the middle of something. And you're just trucking along doing whatever. And then oh, hey, by the way, your time's up. You got to shut her down. Well, I'm still awake. I got an 18-hour day in me today. Versus, there's other days where you're just like, I'm just not feeling it. I could wake up tomorrow for Monday and be like, nope, I'm putting my 14 in and that's all I'm doing. And I'm getting my 10-hour reset and I'm going to be sleeping for 8 hours and I'm going to relax. So it's a double-edged sword.
It really is. And speaking of it being a double-edged sword, and just like you were talking about, when it comes to the railroad, you've got the engineer and you got the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Engineer,
Yep.
conductor.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I mean, what's wrong with them running like teams in a tractor? Yeah, I know it's not their job, but to continue on as far as the supply chain goes, and if they are limited by hours, they could do the engineer versus the conductor, and they could do a swap. I mean, realistically, I don't know, but it's just a thought.
I'm under the impression that the railroad workers, for some reason, fall under some clause where they're technically not allowed to strike, and that's why this is even a bigger deal than it usually would be.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
You could be right on that, yeah.
With the union contracts, they are not allowed to strike.
Right.
Which, ironically enough, there are some locals that are like that. Like I have a buddy that lives up in Pennsylvania. They're local. It has in their doc. He's an electrician. They are not allowed to strike under no circumstances.
Let's bring this discussion into the union versus non-union later, other time. But isn't that part of the union to be able to strike, to be able to fight for your rights as a union employee? See, I've been non-union all my life, so I don't know. So we'll save that for the next episode. So I just don't know.
We're referred to our special.
And let Kariahna up there biting her tongue about it. She's like, I want to say something.
My union blood is boiling.
Let's get out of the union blood. Let's get out of it. Let's get out of the union, non-union. Let's get back to our topic, which is safety.
Safety.
And I'm not one of the EMS. I'm not one of the first responders. So in my opinion, safety third. If 3 legs make a table, especially in the crane industry, you know you've pushed it. You're not proud of it, but you know you've done it. 3 legs make a table.
I think you need to find a good balance, because I can see it from both sides. Because let's be honest, we're laying it out on the table. We've all done some sketchy things to get the job done. Push the crane past not the point of no return, but we're feeling the crane out of like, all right, I know what I can get away with and what I can't get away with. The safety factors are put into effect to save you in the long run. Like, I'm not proud of it, but there's been some times where it's like, I don't have a choice. Like, we're beyond the point of like, I'm stuck. I'm going to have to reach up here and override and boom it to me. Cause you cut a steel beam loose on a demo job, and it's not what it weighs, and I don't have a choice of putting it down. I have to take it.
Right.
Now, in those situations, Justin, in a demo job or a tree job, you're given what you got.
Yeah. Yeah. There is no stepping back and punting.
Exactly. And a lot of people will argue when it comes to a different job where it's not demo or it's not tree. Well, you could always move the crane. Sometimes you can't.
You can. It's one of those.
You can, sometimes you can't.
Everybody's had that moment where after you get done, you're like, that went okay, but that was not a great decision. Right. And if you've never had that, then you haven't ran a crane, or at least you haven't long enough.
Right.
It's definitely a learning experience where you're like, I could have made better decisions. I shouldn't have pushed it so far, and nothing went wrong. Nothing was inherently wrong, but it definitely wasn't a safety first kind of attitude.
Right. There's been a lot of times on these precast jobs where I've pulled a tape, and I've pulled my tape within the last 3 feet of my limit, and then when I go to pick up the piece, and it's like, shit.
Well, I got it now, boys. I don't got it.
Well, exactly. It's one of those situations. I got it now. There's nothing I can do from this point forward except for set it.
Right.
And I know I gave myself that buffer. I gave myself the 3 to 5 feet. I know I gave myself that buffer, but nevertheless, it's still not something you want to do every time.
3 to 5 feet is so small in the grand scheme of the radius, you know.
But when you're working with incredible weights,
It's all you've got. It's
know,
everything you can do to get 3 to 5 feet.
Exactly. The 3 to 5 feet doesn't seem that big, but until you start working with 60, 70,000 pounds, and you're like,
Right.
oh, okay, 3 feet, my chart drops off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one of those things of knowing your setup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big topic when it comes to cranes is our setup and how far we are. As far as safety goes, is it in our chart? Did we understand all of our weights, all of our discrepancies, and everything else, all of our deductions? Well, what about those other things that you don't? I see you adjusting your camera there. Man.
What's that?
Nothing. I just see.
No, the camera keeps sliding away.
So bullshit! You wanted to show your little logo there. I see.
Yeah, X50 putting loads in tight places.
But let's bring up the topic of the safety man coming by your crane and talking shit. The safety man has come up to me and argued that I needed a seatbelt in my upper cab.
I hate that.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I don't have one.
You're right. I don't have one, and I love the safety man because he's on my side. He really
right.
is. In the grand scheme of things, he's on my side. But
truly,
most of the time, he doesn't know my job,
mm-hmm.
which is upsetting. He knows tie-off points. He knows
the stuff he should be passionate about. He's not even aware of.
Exactly. What experiences have y'all had with that?
Kariahna, go ahead first because I got a good story on this one.
So I do a lot of short-term jobs because I'm still green. I'm trying to find a home to say. And one of 2 jobs ago, I think it was, the safety guy comes out and he's like, it was the same thing. He's like, you need to be wearing your seatbelt. And I was like, this crane does not have a seatbelt. And he's like, no, you need to wear your seatbelt. You can't pull one off on me. And I was like, oh, climb up here, please, and show me where it is. If you can find it, I'll wear it.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets in and he's looking and he's like, oh, well, can you get out real quick? And I'm like, yeah. And he gets in and he's looking around and he's reaching beside. There's not one. And he's like, did they take it out? I was like, no. What's a seatbelt going to do? What's it going to do for me? Hold me in?
Yeah.
Ride it out?
It's going to get you stuck in a bad situation.
In a very bad. It's things like that. Or, on that same job, it was nights and he's like, you guys need to have more lights out here. Because I had asked one of the guys, there was a light plant set straight across from me. And it was when I was completely blind. We were working in a tunnel. And the light is just shining straight at me. And I was like, hey, can we turn that off or move it? It's not helping me. It's making this much harder. I can't even see my line, anything like that. And he was like, you need to have that there for visibility. And I'm like, I can't see.
It's now
making this
my ability
harder.
To work.
If you just scoot it, it's fine. It's acceptable. I have no complaints. But when you put it directly in front of me, I can't see anything now. I wore sunglasses because he was like, you have to keep it there. I was wearing sunglasses on night shift. It's little things like that get to me.
I did a railroad replacement job, and me being the younger operator, it was full 24 hours on, or it was full 24 hours. It was 12 on, 12 off for like 4 or 5 days. They were doing a bridge replacement for a railroad track. And it was like the 3rd night and we started setting pieces back, and we weren't just ripping them out. They had the light plant in my face. When we were ripping them out, I didn't care.
Right.
Cable up. I got it anyway. Turn around, go with it. But when we started setting the pieces, I was looking for their hands and I was just like, you guys got to turn that. Well, that ain't been a problem the last 2 days. Let me tell you, it's a problem now.
Right.
Go ahead and turn it. Yeah, that was a wild job. I mean, that was all the issues we had to overcome with that one, but that turned out to be a pretty good one. That was my biggest complaint though, is that one night they had the light plant right here.
Right.
And I'm trying to set the rail down right here. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
You're like a little bug. Like you can't look away from the light, but
Well,
you can't see when you're looking
I
at
couldn't
it.
see them beyond the light, so it didn't
Right.
matter.
You're sitting in the
can't.
cab going, "Look at me, I'm Stevie Wonder. I can't see shit."
Yeah. I mean, I had the sunshade down and everything else, and it was no good. It didn't.
You're doing blind picks with them straight in front of you. You're just closing your eyes, telling me, "Hey, you better have good signals."
I mean, I had a 30-foot radius, and I couldn't see what I was doing.
Cable up.
Yeah.
Operator, pay attention. Why are you looking away? I can't see.
Thinking about that, seeing what you just did, and thinking about the job I'm on now, if they would have had a radio, that would have worked out. I'd have just pulled my hat down. All right, say what you got to say. But that wasn't.
So the crew that I'm with now, setting precast on the one section of the building that I'm at, after lunch, you can't see anything. The sun is right there in your face. And I tell them, hey, the sun's in just the sun. And I'm sitting here like with my hat sitting like this over one eye. Operator, wake up. I am awake. I can't see. Can we hurry up and set this side of the building so we can move?
No, we can't.
Typical operator. Take your little nap.
Oh, you're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there.
Oh no, I did buy sunshades for my new crane, and I'm not
new crane, huh?
Yeah, it's older than I. It is new to me. This crane is older than I am. It was a learning curve. It was a punch in the face. It made me think, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't belong here. I want to quit. I want to go home, and I want to cry to my mommy. But instead I sat there and I pushed through, and now I like this crane. But, and here's the kicker. Speaking of the railroad, sorry about that. Sorry about that. And I pushed through, and I was like, this is a glass box. It's got no air. It's hot in here. There's no shade anywhere. And I bought these sunshades, and I went to put them in there, and then I was like, when I'm not picking, I'm sitting in my truck. So I put the sunshades, and I blacked out my truck windows, and so now.
So you didn't even use them on the crane.
And now I'm using them in my truck when I take my naps.
Fucking operators, I swear.
I got a book too, and I just hold it in my truck. It looks like I'm reading. I look studious.
Well, you were saying earlier.
No, go ahead, Justin.
I got you. You were saying earlier about safety having your back. I'm very fortunate where I'm at now. Our lead safety man, Dave, you can call him anything. Like, even if you're in the unknown, he will go to bat for you in a heartbeat, and he'll drive out and be like, hey, listen, he'll rattle off whatever for you. But where I was at previously, I was setting steel up in D.C., and the big contractor company that was overseeing the project had 4 or 5 very, very young, fresh out of high school and college age guys that didn't have a clue with safety. And just this one kid, it was a horror story. No matter what you did, it was wrong. He was yelling at me and the other operator. He was saying, well, you need to be within 75% of your chart at all times because that's what your book says. And me and the other operator looking at each other like, what's he talking about? And he brings out this book. It's a crawler book. And he's like, see, your load charts are based off of 75. We're like, sir, that's a crawler crane. A hydro is based off of 85%. That's what our chart is built. And then if you say as the customer, you want 75% of that chart, we take 75% of 85%. And he goes, oh, well, I didn't know that. And then another day, I get it. He was trying to make a name for himself and he wanted to move up through the ranks, but he was doing it in a very poor way. What is the number one thing as an operator? If you see danger tape written around the crane, what do you not do?
Don't walk through
Go around it.
Yeah, don't walk through it. What's he do? I'm mid-swing with a 75-ton link belt. He crawls up underneath the safety tape, jumps on my blind side, and I almost waffle him with my counterweight swinging around. with steel. And the only thing that stopped me from hitting them was my connector screaming on the radio, stop, 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 stop. And you lock, you know, when you hear that, the oak crap in somebody's voice, and you lock it up, trying to stop, and you're looking around, what's going on? And there he is. Doo, 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 doo.
Oh,
hey, I need to see your inspection book and this. Dude, you almost died.
Right.
You're lucky someone else saw you.
Now.
Yeah.
And he just didn't get it. And we were doing other stuff like when we were setting steel Christmas tree in. That's dangerous. You can't be doing that. Yes, we can. You got to remember that these are techniques that these guys have been doing for a long time.
Yeah, it's no more dangerous than what we're doing if we take a single piece. It is what it is.
It just, this kid was getting in our way. We were getting slowed down, and it came to the point where, and this is kind of the whole point of it, sometimes safety gets in front of functionality.
Mm-hmm.
He just was getting in so much of a way that we just me and the other operator shut the job down halfway through the day. Just shut it down, turned the keys off, jumped out of the crane. And we went and got the foreman. We're like, listen, we're doing a safety shutdown. And we shut the whole job down because this guy was messing with the dirt workers, the concrete guys. Like he didn't know what he was doing, which is fine. You don't know what you're doing. You're trying to learn. But when you're impeding everybody to do things,
right,
now you're becoming dangerous yourself. And we just said, listen, like he done this, and this, like we're done. We're not moving these cranes. We're not working. And the lead safety man, you're going to go back to work. And we're like, no, we're not.
No.
Do you have an NCCO card?
And,
no.
And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of that card. You get to tell them no.
Right.
It's my favorite word, no.
No, this ain't happening today.
So when we brought the show on, Kariahna, I had brought up, how I like to be safety third until it's just an inconvenience for me, and then I tell them no.
Right.
Tell me some of those stories where you just tell them no.
So once again, I was back on that job where I was on the tunnel, and completely blind, man basket picks almost exclusively. I mean, I moved materials down there for them every once in a while, but for the most part, just people. I was only moving man basket, and we're sending them down, and all of a sudden, he's saying, cable down, looking good, everything's fine. This is 300, 400 feet, and all of a sudden, I don't hear him, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, he wasn't very consistent, but he always let me know, 100 feet to the bottom, 50 feet to the bottom. And I was cabling down, and all of a sudden, I don't hear him, and I'm like looking, and I'm looking at the guy up top. He's just looking, watching, tell me to cable down. All of a sudden, I lose all the weight on my basket, and I was like, oh, no. The radios had went out for not only myself and for the top guy that's watching. So we couldn't hear them at all. So I call him like on his cell phone, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I'm wondering the same thing. You just slammed us in the ground. Like, you've never done this before. And I'm like, no one can hear you. Right. We're all, try your radio. None of the 5 guys up top could hear him. He couldn't hear us. So I'm like, hey, like, I'm not leaving you down there. Like, get back in the basket, stay on the phone with me, and we're going to get you back out. Well, we get out, and the foreman's like, well, it's not a big deal. You have his phone number. And I was like, I don't like that idea.
It's kind of an issue.
I don't like that. But one of the guys was like, all my stuff's still down there. I need to get my stuff. So we tried these other radios, and everything's fine. Everything's fine. About 50 feet from the top of the hole is when we lost connection completely. So once again, I'm aware this time that we may not have signal. We may not have service. What's going on? So I call him again. I'm like, hey, are you talking? He's like, yeah, you're not responding once again. And I was like, okay, just stay on the phone, get to the bottom, get your stuff, and we're getting back out.
Right.
Safety guy comes, and he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Get the electrician. I'm like, what the electrician's going to do? Electrician goes, radios aren't my business. If it was a mine phone, it'd be my business, but it's not. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. Safety guy's like, well, try these radios. And we try them, and of course, nothing is working. Some signal somewhere is blocking the radios. We cannot communicate with people once they're in the hole, which the foreman's like, well, you have your phone. And I said, okay, listen, I'm not doing this. He said, well, Why not? Give me a good reason. I said, when they're in that hole, sure, they can call me, but what happens if someone goes down? Does he have access to his phone? Does he have access to say, let's get out, that he can just easily grab and key his mic? That's not how this works. I said,
emergency situations, great. Yeah, you can have the cell phones, but For
But to
steady
just
contact, you need to have
right,
the radios.
right. You know, phones aren't perfect. What if his phone dies? What if my phone dies? What if something
Right.
happens? You know, he drops his phone. They were working in, you know, there was water down there. What if he drops his phone in the water? There were too many factors where having properly functioning radios and getting them before work the next day would have been fine. And I said, I'm not doing this. And he said, is that your final decision? I said, that is my final decision, and I will not go back on it. And he said, all right, fine. Well, I guess pack up the crane then. I was like, okay. Are you going to have new radios for us tomorrow? Like, I want that too. Like, I said, listen, it's not that I don't want work. I said, I want money just as much as you guys do. I said, but I will not be responsible for someone losing their life. I will not be responsible for someone not going home to their family and anything like that. And he said, well, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I do. In a basket, you know, there were days they were doing, you know, basket work and everything else.
You were hoisting personnel.
People.
There's no other higher fucking instance.
That's as big as it gets.
Yes.
I said, these aren't material. Okay. I said, this is not, you know, the trash that we're hoisting out. This is not stone. This is your crew. These are your people that you are responsible for.
Right.
And that I am responsible for as soon as they step in my basket. He said, well, fine. I'll talk to the others, the day shift safety, and we'll see what we can get. And I was like, yeah. And I come in the next day. I said, do we have new radios? He said, no. I said, oh, what's your plan then? Well, I thought we could try again. I said, I'm not doing it. And he said, hold on, let me call down. And he called to the other end of the tunnel, and they magically got new radios. And these new radios,
how about that?
They functioned and they worked.
Would you look at that?
I know, you know, and if they'd have just went and got the other radios the night before, we probably could have just kept working.
They didn't want to do that.
But that would have been really inconvenient.
They didn't want to give you the satisfaction.
You know, and it was only like 5 miles to the other end of the tunnel. It's a pretty far drive in a car across town. Just 5 miles.
It's the end of the world to actually get operational equipment.
Right. That would be inconvenient. And I just shut it down, and I shut them down. They were continually mad at me on that job because I shut down for lightning. And they're like, well, can we just go back down? I said, no.
No. And
they said, well, the day shift guy's going to be here soon. I said, if he wants to do that,
don't matter.
Let him. He said, but me on my crane? No. No, because he works for a different company. So you're really going to have to beg him because he doesn't even work for the same company we do.
And that's a big thing as far as being an operator goes, is you have the final decision.
Right.
Is if you feel it's unsafe, I mean, you need to shut it down because when it all comes back, God forbid something actually goes to shit and everything goes wrong and somebody gets hurt or even worse dies.
Right.
It's coming back on you.
Right. It's my license. It's my job.
It's coming back on me. It's coming back on anybody else that was in the seat. It's coming back on us. Until we can prove that we were right in everything that we did and they did something wrong, it came back on the operator every time.
There's a reason
you are guilty until proven innocent.
Unfortunately.
That's true.
There's a reason that now the overrides record every move that you make because people push that.
Oh yeah. If I touched the override in my 175, I'm sure fucking NASA satellites are linking up, fucking figuring out what's he doing. What's he doing? I needed 2 more feet. Calm down.
Well, it's funny that you said about being guilty. Like I said, being guilty until proven innocent. You know, and it's your license. I had an old timer when I first started this. When I was just a rigger, I messed up. 100% own your mistakes. I rigged up a piece wrong, and I choked a steel beam with an endless sling. Instead of using the steel chokers, I used endless nylons on old steel. Big no-no. Because they're just going to snap and boom. Well, I didn't know any better. It was like my second job as a rigger, so I had no idea. Choked it up, called on the radio, go ahead and cable on up.
You were as green as they come.
Oh, I was a greenhorn and wet behind the ears and thrown to the wolves. Like, no, you're on your own. Figure it out. So the operator, he's an older gentleman, he picks up on the piece and he swings out. And next thing you know, you stupid effing retard. And I went, what? And I just
he let you hold it, huh?
Who, me?
Oh, he was mad. He dumps that load down to the ground, puts it on the ground. He's like, get off that roof right now and come see me. I'm like, okay. And I just and he goes, Justin, that's a no-no. That is the biggest no-no you can ever do. I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, Justin, I want you to understand something. I can't see what you're doing up there. I'm putting 100% faith in you as the rigger. I'm 100% in the blind, everything that you're telling me. It doesn't matter if something goes critically wrong. You're still in the wrong. I'm going to jail. That NCCO card just tells the officer he goes to jail first. He said, I'm responsible for you, and yes, you're an extension of my authority on that pick. But if you rig it up wrong and something happens, I'm going to jail just as much as you are, even though I didn't know what you were doing. And I can't just be like, well, I didn't know. No, you're responsible at the end of the day. And then, I don't know about you, Kariahna, or you, Robbie, but I'm very particular. Like, if I see something that I don't like, I'm going to say, like, listen, we're not doing it this way. Or the other operator did it that way. I don't care. That we're not doing it.
I'm going to come back to you on that. Y'all two carry on the conversation. There's something dealing with in my house going on right now, so I'll be back.
He shall return.
Anywho, I know personally, I'm a big fan of, the other operator did this. Okay, so go get him to do it.
Go ahead, call him. They
were telling me, I came in on this crane. They're like, we got this crane because the last guy 2-blocked it, messed it up, and blah blah blah. Because I'm sitting on a hunk is what I am. It is. She's seen her better days, and they're like, well, the other operator did this. And I'm like, you just told me the other operator destroyed a crane. Is that what you want me to do? I don't.
Well, it's a lot of people at the end of the day don't. It's funny how people preach safety, but then when it comes when it's cutting into time and material, safety goes right out the window.
Right.
And you sit there and you're like, no, I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know what? That's fine. Because we could be on opposite shifts of each other. And I do stuff that you don't like, and you can do stuff that I don't like. But you know what? At the end of the day, you're the one sitting in the seat, not me.
Right.
It's not Robbie who's sitting in the seat. It's not,
it's
anyone
your
else.
Call
it's you.
At the end of the day.
And if you don't like it, shut her down.
Right. They got mad at me one day. It's always they're always mad about the lightning. It's always the lightning. You're like, hey, you told me at the start of the job, lightning rules 20 miles, 20 minutes. And now you're mad because I want to wait the whole 20 minutes? And there's lightning within the 20 minutes? Like, it would have taken me a couple minutes just to get set back up, and there'd have been lightning again.
Our policy is 8 miles.
8 miles.
And after minimum 8 miles, but the operator has final discretion on total mileage. I set mine at 10. At 10, guys, like if they're up in the man basket on cell tower, guys, and I count it down. Hey, I got lightning 20, 15, 10 miles. This is your choices. Either get in the basket or you're climbing down, or number 2, cut me loose of whatever we are, because at about 10 miles, by the time I get my boom sucked in on that 175, it's on top of us.
It is.
And it actually, that brings up a good story about lightning. You know how slow the 175 is to suck in the boom.
Even on high speed.
Well, I had double swung jib and an insert. Called on the radio. I was down in South Carolina. We're servicing a 250 tower. Hey, guys, we got lightning. It's on top of us. We got to shut it down. It's at 10 miles. All right, Justin, go ahead. They cut me loose. I start to swing away, and the storm front had hit us at that point, and I was dealing with 50-mile-an-hour gusts. Have you ever seen a boom banana peeled over? I was scared out of my mind trying to get this thing out of the air. And the ground guy comes running up to me as I'm sucking the boom, and, hey, man, you got to go get them, guys. You got to go get them. I said, no, I'm going to do more damage trying to get them out of the air with this wind. Time. And I said, did you see how bad the boom was laid over? They're like, well, yeah. I said, you see how it is now and how I swung into the wind. So it's pushing now back on the boom as I'm trying to suck in. I said, I'm going to do more damage than good trying to get these guys out of the air.
It's time to come home and get out of it.
Right.
Yep. And I happen to look up, and they're rappelling down the tower faster than anything else. They're like, we're out of here.
Right.
Like, you made the good call. Don't try getting that man basket and doing something. Don't be the hero.
Don't be the hero.
And it's just.
And I won't say any names, but most recently I had a little bit of a discretion issue with one of my foremans. And you know, we've worked past it. I mean, it never went any further than 2 lines in a sentence, talking shit back and forth. I was holding on to a piece, and I started to get the lightning alerts, and I was like, you guys need to fucking weld this thing and cut me loose, and we'd be done with it. And they kept welding, and they worked on it, and they eventually cut me loose. And as soon as they cut me loose, cabled up and fucking started sucking boom in. Well, hold on, I need you to grab these 2 pieces off the trailer. No,
Sorry.
Sorry, that trailer can wait.
I'm sorry about your luck. Drop the trailer, send the driver on. I don't care.
Yeah.
This boom's coming in right now. Well, and in a normal situation that would have been the end of it, but that trailer had other pieces on it that we did. It was some kind of fiasco. I don't know. But they tried to offload it with the forklift. They ended up breaking a piece. And I thought that was going to come back on me because they tried to offload it with the. I was like, no, I can't control the weather. I said no because of lightning, and you guys can fight me on that
pictures.
one. Oh yeah, I got my screenshots.
Take your screenshots.
Yes.
Keep your pictures.
CIA.
and it was nothing but lightning. You can barely see my blue little dot. You know? And that's where I talk shit to you, Kariahna, the other day. I was like, oh, you can still see your blue dot.
You did. You did.
I mean, there's a steam tower not far off the job that got struck by lightning that day. Like as I was pulling my boom in, it got fucking hot. I'm like, fuck you. Hey, I don't care about your pieces on the trailer. I'm sorry. Gots to go.
See, and that day, the day you're talking about with my, well, you can still see your blue dot. We had got there at 6:30. Our start time 6:30. Mm-hmm. We had waited in the truck because it was lightning when we got there. I thought for sure they were going to shut us down before we even got started. Wrong. So we sit there and we're going and we're going and we're going and we're just sitting in our trucks. About 10:30, they're like, all right, let's give it a try. We get about 2 pieces unloaded. And then I get the lightning alerts and I'm like, hey. And the ironworker I was working with was like, hey, shut it down. And we waited another 45 minutes, another hour. And then finally they're like, well, we might as well just go home. I was like, are you kidding me? I just sat here all day.
I do know that pretty good about ironworkers. They don't fuck around with lightning either.
They don't.
They're not going to play that game.
Nope.
No, they see the first gray cloud on the horizon. They're done.
My brother just called me 2.5 hours away and said it's lightning over there. We better shut it down.
Yeah.
We better shut it down.
No.
Well, have you ever been on site? Have you ever been on site when a crane gets struck by lightning?
No.
Oh, it is about the scariest thing you've ever seen.
This hand right here.
Hey!
The crane I was operating. Because this is before I knew about the cell phone apps.
Uh-huh.
This is about 6 years ago or so. I didn't know about the cell phone apps and tracking the storms and everything coming up. And I was on an RT. I had swung jib and I was flying lumber for an apartment building, and the storm built behind me. I was working in the same 30-degree range all day. I never looked behind me. And all of a sudden, everybody got off the building. About the time I fucking swung around is about the time my jib got struck. Yeah, that's how my body felt. That's how my body felt. I got, the hair on end kind of things.
Did you have to go wipe?
Flash. Everything got bright.
Oh, no, I asked if you had to go wipe.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm not gonna say I have to go wipe. Pretty sure the seat took care of that. But everything got bright.
I'm sure.
I mean, it was the big flash, and the mechanics had to come out from the other local branch that was near us and suck the boom in the rest of the way because my computer was shot. It fried fucking everything. I was like, I don't even. Can I get out of this thing yet? If I grab the grab handle on the way down the stairs here, am I gonna get popped? Like, is everything still charged or what?
I've only ever seen it happen. Once we were on a rig where one of the rooster shivs up on the derrick had busted. And we had switched the old one out. We were putting the new one in and cabling down to grab the cable just because we put a shim in it. So we rigged it up and started cabling up. And the storm was coming in on us, and we were doing the old hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Operator's like, Justin, you got to cut me loose, cut me loose. He's probably 50 feet above the derrick's top. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. I start to cut him loose. He swings away, and he gets maybe 20 feet away from where I was standing up on the derrick, and he got struck. Bright, a flash, same thing, and I hit the deck up on the top, and I'm like, he's dead. I look down, he's bailing out of the crane, jumps, and is bunny hopping across location trying to get away from the crane. And I call on the radio, you all right there, James? And he's like, dude, I'm done. F this crane.
Oh, my
I'm
gosh.
done. It blew out the computer, every
I'm
sensor
sure.
on that 350-ton Grove, and it was done. There was nothing he could do about it, and he's like, well, it's going to stay here. And we called the mechanic, same thing, called the mechanic, and the mechanic's an hour away. It got struck another 4 times.
Oh, shit.
And I'm sitting up on the deck. I'm afraid to get off the drilling rig. I'm standing on the drilling floor going, I'm going to stay up in the drill shaft.
You're not getting shot on the ground. Leave it alone.
It's not worth the
I'm
risk.
staying up here. I just go walking into the drill house. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm going to hide in here with you. They're like, that's fine, Justin. We're not going outside either. They spent so much money fixing that crane.
I feel like it wouldn't even be worth it. I think it probably would have just went to the scrapyard if they.
Well, you got to remember this company that I was working for, everything was fixed with bubble gum and duct tape.
Oh, there you go.
That'll do it.
Uh-huh.
What do you say, y'all? Let's go into our last segment here, picking in the blind. Who's got it this week?
I think I have it. Okay, so my question could be a little long-winded, just depends on your perspective.
Oh, hold on. I completely fucked up.
Oh, wait, hold on. Pretend I did not say that.
Yeah, we didn't go into the picking of the blind yet, just yet. Hold on, wait for it.
That was us rewinding, but I don't know how to make the noise.
Picking in the blind. Okay, there we go.
Not echo.
There we go.
Cheers to that.
Okay, so this could be a little long-winded depending on your perspective or your answer. Would, let's say, freshman year high school you
Oh, God.
Shit.
be surprised at what you do now and the life that you live, or like happily surprised or disappointed?
Is this one of those trends off of TikTok where you're thinking about back where you were versus where you are now?
I mean, kind of, if you want to do that.
Okay. I've seen a couple of trends on the TikToks.
Robbie, you got this first because Justin looks very deep in thought.
Run it back by me one more time.
Would freshman year high school you be surprised at where you are now, or disappointed, or even more happier than what you could have planned for?
Probably a lot of bit surprised.
Yeah. What was your goals when you were in school?
My goals going into high school was to join the military, and I joined the Marine Corps, and I became an equipment operator in the Marine Corps. But to be where I'm at now, operating cranes, freshman me would have been surprised because honestly, I never saw me getting off of a farm tractor.
Right.
Like, that was just my little dumb ass. I was stuck on a farm tractor. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah. The little fork attachment, I thought was a bad fork attachment. I was a certified forklift operator. Let me tell you.
So freshman year Robbie would be proud as hell.
Would be fucking proud as shit that I'm sitting in a crane right now, in a fucking classic crane that I'm sitting in right now as it is. Don't get me wrong, I'm not touching Connor's classic crane, but I'm in a 350 ton, and for me, that's a big deal.
Oh, God. Justin?
He's just a little guy.
I'm in no 900 ton like Connor was, but it is.
Hey, tonnage means nothing. Leave me and my 30 ton out of this.
It's all about what you do with it, right?
I got a little stick and everything.
That's what I tell myself all the time.
Justin, how would high school you feel about where you are now?
He would be very surprised and like, where did you make a random left-hand turn? Because
what did high school you want to do?
So high school, Justin, in freshman year, wanted to follow in the steps of my dad. I wanted to join the Marine Corps. My dad said, hey, if you're going to join the Corps, you're going to go be an officer. Don't be a grunt like I was. He said, be an officer, have some perks. And then once you get out of the Corps, it kind of sets you up better. And my goals were to join the Corps, become an officer, not make it a career, do a couple of years, and then get out and then join the Pennsylvania State Police. And then ironically enough, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. Still wanted to join the military and, got into fire and EMS when I was 16. But my opportunity for the Corps went out the window my senior year when I blew my kneecap out and had reconstructive surgery done. So, I'll be a fireman paramedic. Yeah, this ain't working out. I'm going to join the oil field. Oh, this is fun. I don't want to be an operator, though. Hey, Justin, run the 275. What?
So pleasantly surprised, but definitely not the path you would have went down.
It was a very different path. I think he'd be going.
Well, yeah,
really?
About like mine. Your freshman you would understand the steps that were taken to get there.
Right. Freshman me would be confused and disappointed, to say the least.
Disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Why would disappoint?
Wow. Well, no, that kind of hurts us all. We're just
listen. Now, like who I am now, I love what I do. I would not change it for the world. I am so proud of what I get to do. But freshman me, she would be upset. She would be crying in her room, face in the pillow, listening to sad music.
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
I was like the honor roll kid. I had acceptance letters to the Ohio State University for pharmacy school and everything else. And, I just wasn't having fun.
Let's get a little college battle going in here.
I went to college.
Ohio.
I started. Listen.
Oh, we're so special over here in Ohio.
In Ohio.
I don't even live in Ohio.
Right.
But I started college when I was 16. I had such high hopes. And then I dropped out like right after I turned 18. And I was like, this sucks. And I went into dirt work. And then I went oiling, and then I freaking love what I do. But to look back and think, man, I was supposed to be a pharmacist. And now I run cranes?
That's overrated.
It's
so much more fun out here.
Let me ask you this.
I'm listening.
I know your dad runs his own dirt work company.
Yes.
How did you fight that for so long? To the point where you wanted to be a pharmacist? Like, if I grew up with dirt work, I'd have probably never joined the Marine Corps. I'd have gone straight into the dirt work.
So I still am. I am a girly girl. I like doing makeup and pretty dresses and having my nails done. Don't look at them right now.
And real men drive crane. Okay.
Real men drive crane. And I didn't think that I could just be the dainty. Dainty is not the right word to describe me.
No, that's what you said. You said it. That's what you said.
The feminine woman that I was. I don't like to get dirty. I don't like to be like, ooh, sweaty, gross, nasty. And one time, my dad taught me how to run equipment. I knew how I was perfectly capable, but I was like, no, I'm smart. I want to do this and this and this. And, I make more money now, or the same amount of money that I would have, even if I was a pharmacist. And I remember I was probably in 7th grade. My dad had a socket kit, and he had used them, and they were dirty, and he dropped them on the porch, and they fell everywhere. And I remember crying on the porch, putting them back in their right spots, and my hands were getting dirty. And my mom was like, well, she's never gonna join us. That dream's out the window. And now look at me. I mean, I still don't like to get my hands dirty. Don't get me wrong. I'll do it, but I'll wear gloves.
Well, yeah, we're crane operators. You stay clean.
These are soft, uncalloused.
They
clean
are.
hands.
They are. They really are. They're really nice hands. They're really nice hands.
I never thought I'd be here, but I am, and I am so happy to be here. I love what I do. It's not a pharmacy, but I think it's better.
Okay. So you're happy that you're here now, but I mean, would you
Freshman
be
year.
proud of yourself thinking ahead? I guess would freshman you, if they imagined you here, would they be proud?
If freshman me met me and saw how truly happy I am, absolutely, she'd be like, "Well, I guess." Do we get our hands dirty?
Fucking A, right on.
We don't get our hands dirty.
Can we wear gloves? We can wear gloves.
Do we have purple and pink, hot pink gloves? Oh, sure.
Do we have hot pink headache balls? Okay, got it. Okay, we're good.
Is my helmet bedazzled?
I
don't know. You tell me.
There it is.
You got the swag going on location. That's all that matters.
There it is, right there.
Anytime.
Right there. All right. Well, that was a good. Yeah, I appreciate it. You're reminding Justin of who he has to plug when we get out of here.
Absolutely.
It's been a good 57 minutes. I hope y'all enjoyed this show. I'm gonna let Justin close us out here, and I'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely. It's been an awesome episode, and shout out to AAA Crane and Rigging out of Louisiana. Our buddy Chris has generously helped us out and made as one of our sponsors with his company that he works for. And for all your NCCO needs, contact AAA Crane and Rigging. And they got actually nice new equipment to run with too.
Yeah, you're not knocking the dust off trying to test.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got it hooked up if you go to AAA Crane and Rigging. But on that note, everybody, y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Love you guys.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, and we're done. I pressed it. Shit. And bro.